practice yet.
Well, what's the look at Addie Deal so far? She's obviously the one garnering a lot of
Oh, I got that. You're all right.
garnering a lot of excitement as the season is up.
You know, Addie's really put together. She's doing great. You know, she's catches on really well. She's really skilled. She's got a great feel. You know, she's everything that we were hoping she would be, certainly, and hopefully a little more.
How do you manage, because obviously the outside world with her, like, there's a lot of expectations for her. How do you help her through that?
You know, Addie's kind of been on the spotlight for a few years, and so I think she manages it pretty well. And you know, we just kind of business as usual, right? It's just, especially now in the summer. Every now and then, you know, you guys are coming in as media, and there'll be some things written about her. But I think a lot of that management might happen as the season starts and as a freshman plays. Sometimes they're freshmen, right? And you're like, whoa, I thought, you know, you were coming in with all these accolades, and that's just kind of a normal progression. But Addie's got such a mature mindset, and typically kids, you know, coming in with McDonald's All-American type status do. But I've really liked how she's managed it so far. So we're not doing anything any differently. We're just, you know, trying to make sure, you know, she's learning right along the same pace as the other four newcomers.
Feels like you have a little more size than you usually do. I mean, with Ava, Layla, and Hannah, I mean, how are things working out there?
You know, that's one thing we didn't have last year, right? Because Ava Hayden is a slender, tall, but that was about it. Now we have Layla Hayes, who is, you know, 6'5", but real strong. And you have Hannah, who's a big but fluid. Ava's a tall, big, but fluid. But we also got size, even more importantly, in the guards with Emily Rodriguez. She's a big built guard. Tegan Mullaney. We're hoping for, you know, continued progression with her. Journey Houston has been looking really great. She's another, you know, solid guard. Last year we were, you know, Kylie and Taylor McCabe, which are great, but when you go up against big physical teams, you don't have a counter. This year we're a lot bigger across the board, with the exception of a little chit-chat, right? You know, that's where we lost the height and the length that we've been used to. But overall, I'm really liking our size. I think that's going to give us a lot of different looks. You could play a couple of those bigs together, depending on the offensive tweak that I might put in a little bit later. So I'm really loving the fact that, especially, we're going to have a counter with Layla Hayes.
How's the transition been for Sydney, going from player to assistant coach?
You know, I think really well. And, you know, she hit the ground running, getting ready for basketball camps, getting ready for our golf outing, and helping getting ready for practice. You know, a lot of long hours. I always kind of equate coaching to the folks who become parents. You never quite know what a parent did or does until you become one. And I don't think you really know what coaches do until you become one. All the pre-work that's done before you get to a practice, right? And Sid is she's just been great. She just hopped in, and what I love about, you know, Sid is she understands the system already. So in some ways she can help Jazz Walker, our new coach, and Lysandra Barrett, you know, just with a general drill, because she knows how I'd want it set up for our offense, because she's run it for so many years.
She was such a leader just right out of the gate last year. I mean, is there somebody filling that role this year too? This gal over here to your right.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, Kylie and Taylor Strimlow, I think both of them have done a great job this summer. You know, because Hannah Stalkey hasn't been with us because she made that USA team, and we're thrilled about that. And you know, that in one way it's you know, kind of tough because we can't build that chemistry and that on-court presence with her as a starter. But on the positive, and we tend to look at the positive side always, is that these other people are getting a lot of opportunity to play and lead. And I think that Strimlow, she's kind of a born leader, and Kylie is doing a great job as that 6-year senior.
Is Hannah playing the 4 with the USA basketball team, and how is that's got to be beneficial for you guys?
It really is. You know, they have, you know, Audie Crooks, and they have another big kid from Texas, and an Oklahoma big with Beers. So she's definitely playing on the perimeter. So I'm really excited because she's getting that experience for us, but certainly for hopefully her tryouts in the WNBA, because she's got to be able to show that skill defensively and offensively. And I'm so proud of her because she was one of the few kids that had not made it USA team before or been invited to try out. So she was a little bit nervous about going because I said, well, we're going. We're going to get out of the comfort zone. And I go, just be you. And I heard from the coaches that were watching, and they just said that, you just could not put her on that team. So I was thrilled about that.
Have you heard from her since she made the team?
Oh yeah, it was really fun. We found out we had basketball camp, and I found out, but then she FaceTimed Taylor, and we all happened to be together with the camp. So it's this big eruption, and Hannah's an easy crier for good way. So she's like crying, and the team is all cheering. So that was a cool moment. And then of course texted, and we've FaceTimed her into our circle. So she's missed 3 practices, and I think we put her in her spot in our circle. Someone's holding the phone. And they flew to Chile yesterday. So today, it was about a 9-hour flight, but she was in our circle. They just gotten into the hotel. So, but she was a little homesick early, but just like missed everybody, not homesick, but like, you're kind of missing, camp. They used to think, oh, it's so hot, but I'm so tired, but she kind of missed being with the buddies. But we reminded her that, her opportunity to get a gold medal. We're all going to forgive her for missing that hot summer sweaty camp session.
Rodriguez looks so smooth out there. She just looks like she's going to fit naturally into you guys as a 3.
Yeah, she's a really good player.
Yeah.
She's a basketball player. She just gets it, and she wants the ball in her hand. She has a great ability to take it over. It'll be interesting. She came from Central Florida. They didn't have a whole lot of team success, but she certainly did. But it's the balance with her will be putting her into our concept, right? Because sometimes when you're just a player, trying to then fit within a little bit of a framework, that can, feel off. But I think she's handling it really, really well.
How do you handle the logjam? You've got like a lot of the 2s and 3s
we do.
On this team,
We do.
and a lot of them that should be playing a lot of minutes, but there's only so many minutes there
Right.
available.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so cool about our program and culture. We don't have a lot of turnover. A lot of people hop in that portal, and they know there's a lot of similar positions. But our offense, really, the 2, 3, and 4, they're similar, right? Until we put a set play in. I mean, if Hannah's in foul trouble, you can play if you wanted to. You could play Tegan and Kylie and Taylor at the 2, 3, 4, right? So there's a lot of different ways to roll that. You could put even Ava Hayden at the 4 if you wanted to go really big.
Yeah.
Ava at the 4, Layla at the 5. You could put Hannah at the 3 if you're not calling set plays, and then 2, one of your big 2s, right? Deal and Kylie's long. So there it is. I mean, there's going to be competition for playing time, but that's also a really good thing. That's how you become really, really great if you have a lot of great depth. But they're really for each other, and I think the fact that they want to be part of that circle, and they know that whatever that role is, how it shakes out, I'm just so grateful for everybody, for the most part, holding.